Hello, this is Neil, the art instructor at masterpaintingnow.com. The link to my website's in the description for more free art lessons and painting lessons. All right, so get started here in Manga Studio 5. It's a really powerful program, and I wanted to show you some of the things you can do with it. It's really cool. So first thing is, for painting, I really like using the pencil brush, and you click the pencil, and then you click the color pencil. Click this little arrow right here next to the brush size, and this here lets you change the whether or not you want pen pressure. This is just like changing size to pen pressure in Photoshop. If you have it way down here, notice the icon changes. This means that if you hit the canvas lightly, let's go ahead and pick a light color, it'll be thinner, and hit it harder, it'll be, higher. And you can actually change that to where it'll have an absolute trying to get it to where, well, anyway, there's a way to do it. I'm not really sure exactly how yet. I haven't messed around with this program enough. But one of these ways allows it to be to where it has a very sharp point. Anyway, when I like to paint, I like to turn it off altogether anyway. Anyway, this is a really nice brush to paint with. If you do like a lot of little circles and then re-add color back into it, there's a little bit of texture there, but not much. Anyway, it's good for like skin and certain types of things, rocks and whatnot. But this is my go-to brush for paint. I really like it a lot. I switch between those two for painting. And then also just the pencil in general. You go to the regular pencil, like the dark pencil here, and go ahead and turn off pen pressure, and then you have a pretty cool workhorse. This is really similar to the brush in Photoshop, the regular paintbrush in Photoshop. Right, I'm gonna make sure I turn that back on. Okay, I guess that's the pattern for when you want it to be thin to like a regular pencil would work. I usually have that one pretty small anyway for sketching and stuff. All right, let's go ahead and go to the paintbrush here and the transparent color. Let's get started. So I'm going to take a kind of a bluish color I have up here. I'm just going to kind of lightly, well, first I'm going to kind of mix it. This is where the moon's going to be eventually. This will be the moon. Then we have a bunch of clouds all over the place. Now what I found that's really cool is if you go to Tool Settings, now how you open this up here is you click right here. This opens up the Tool Settings. If you go to Material and click inside of here, you get, initially just click in here like that and open up a new box here. It opens up a new window for me. Click on Painting Material. There's all different kinds of stuff you can choose between. Blur here is kind of interesting for clouds, and so is some of the cloud brushes. But anyway, this is just to lay down some like really quick like texture. And I'm going to come back in and actually go in with smaller brushes by hand. It gets a little bit slow, especially when you're recording like I am right now. But nonetheless, so I'll have to use a smaller brush here. Anyway, it's good just to lay in some quick texture. And then you take like a darker color or take a more saturated color in here, and take a darker color and kind of work it back in. Essentially, this is how I do clouds. I add light colors over dark colors. Now in Photoshop, this process goes by much, much faster because I'm able to use a really cool cloud brush that I came up with, and it just works really good for really quick clouds. And so if I were going to do this for real, I would actually do the sky in Photoshop and then I'd bring it back into here. All right, another thing you do when you go back in here is just check out that other pattern I was telling you about. I think it's a pretty cool one. I'm going to click on Painting Materials, bring this in here if you can see what I'm doing. Scroll down, and one of the ones that was cool was that the fog one's kind of interesting. This adds some cool texture really quick like as well. Turn this brush up a little bit bigger. I just want to make sure I have this turned off, and I do. Okay. So you want to do little circles with it, and it's kind of slow when it's big, but Just do a few circles and let go. And I'm going to pick a really brighter color here for the moon. Okay, I'll go back in with the airbrush done with that. But I'm just going to add a couple just quick circle lines. I'm doing light little circles just to add some places where I know I'm going to have clouds in here. You can also go to mode, which is kind of cool. Let me see, I think this one does mode. Nope. So this one doesn't, but pencil does, airbrush does. You can set the mode to have, like, for example, let's go airbrush and take the mode and we'll go to soft light or overlay. And then take a lighter color, and this is airbrush. And you can get that, same kind of look you can with Photoshop and stuff, which is really cool. And so that'd be like one of the last things I would do into it, but I'm going to add it in now. What the hell? So what I'm trying to do then is basically, no matter what textured brush you're using or even a non-textured brush, the goal of what you're trying to do is use a lighter color, add some light, and then use one of the darker colors next to it and add it right back in. Take the lighter color, take a really light color, and you just keep doing that. And when you do that, that's how you get cloud texture. So you don't want too much texture. I'm going to go in, I'm going to pick a different texture this time. It's not under texture, by the way. It's under brush size. No. What the hell? What's it under? There it is. Under brush tip. I'm going to go and pick the Cloud 3. You won't be able to see what I'm doing over here, but there's so many different things to choose from. Like, wow, there's like forestry and all kinds of stuff. Just look at all this stuff there is to choose from. Tons of stuff. Anyway, I'm going to go to Cloud 4 for now. Let's try that. You can change the thickness of it, you can change all kinds of things. The direction. I'm going to take this back over here. And changing all that stuff will help when you're creating the desired look you want. So I'm kind of liking these overblown out colors, but I'm not sure if I'm going to I might desaturate them more, and I'm not really sure yet. But notice how when you just add that color in really quickly, little circles, you're getting texture all over the place with that cloud brush. You want to make sure you do a lot of small little circles. This is the same way I use my cloud brush in Photoshop. But this is just to get down some quick texture. You want to use the brush, make it big. Let's see here. If I can change. Oh, this one doesn't let me change the hardness. Well, that sucks. You can use the airbrush with this pattern as well, and then you can have a softer kind of brush. Once I have something that begins to resemble some cloud work, then I'll go back in and I'll start adding little details. And this is why I made my cloud brush in Photoshop, because I absolutely hate painting clouds. I really do. It's so time consuming. Look at that. I've hardly gotten anywhere yet, and I'm already 9 minutes into the video. I'm going to go ahead and try a different material here, see if I can get anything else to work better. I'm going to use a different cloud brush. I'll use cloud number 5. Let's see what that one does. I haven't even tried that one yet. It really kind of, what you'll notice about with digital painting is really experimenting a lot is going to help you achieve what you want a lot faster. And once I have, a little bit of pattern in there, and then it's time to go in and start using a smaller brush. And you can still try the pattern brush if you want. In this case, I'm thinking probably not. Another cool thing I discovered is, let's go back to circle over here. I think it was under texture. There's a bunch of textures to choose from. Oh, no, no, no. It was like spreading or something, or some type of, hold on a second, let me find it. I think it was spray effect. Yeah, so when you add spray effect, you see up here the particle size. So it depends on the size of your brush. I like to have it really blurry. And so you have to change the particle size depending on the size of your brush in order for it to work well. And so this allows you just to get this kind of, you just barely lightly touch it. And what I like about this brush is it allows me to get some texture in there really quickly. Let's go a little bit smaller here. Now because I made it smaller, I'm probably going to have to go in and readjust the particle size again. Let me go look at it. It's a little too blurry, so we'll bring the particle size down a little bit. You can see it changing over here. And so it's an easy way to add a bunch of little textures in there. Now at this point when I do clouds, I start doing little dotty circles. And I kind of space it around to add in all that little texture that you see inside of clouds. Otherwise, you're going to have too much of a light color. And so you take this color now and add it in, and you keep going with each darker color. And then you just lightly space around little circles with a smaller brush like this. And it's just time consuming. I think clouds are so time consuming. I much prefer my Photoshop cloud brush. I can do clouds so quickly with that thing. And some people say, well, it's kind of cheating, when you're using your Photoshop cloud brush because it's pretty much a photo of a cloud and you're just kind of rotating it around and blending it around and stuff. I mean, it still takes a technique, but um, when you're working commercially, it doesn't really matter what you do. You can trace whatever because you're trying to make as much money as you can as fast as you can. It doesn't matter how you get the result as long as the end result looks good. A lot of old painters, I don't know if you know this, they traced. They what they do is they use basically like like I don't know if any of you guys remember in school when they still use those projectors, but they did when I was in school. I don't know if they even use them anymore. Probably not. But anyway, they're like little light things, and they reflect like the picture in a lighted way onto the wall. And so they would reflect a picture onto the canvas and with light, and then they will take that and build from it. They'll just trace and paint right over it. They can see like basically a photograph on their canvas. It's really easy to do this now too with our technology we have now. You can get one of those light things, projectors, for pretty cheap. And then at this point too, you can even just straight turn off the brush if you don't want too much texture in there. You can just go ahead and let's turn off the spraying effect for now. Now I just have the regular standard brush here. And this is kind of really cool for more like smooth clouds. And you want to layer the different colors on top of each other. So you have like a dark color here and lay a light color. I like to do is I like to come in here, lay a light color down like this, and the way, facing the light, because that's all the light, right? Then take a lighter color and just kind of push right into it. Maybe get a smaller brush here. And notice I'm zoomed out the whole time. I'm not zooming in at all. It's good to get your, the overall image looking great from a distance and then start zooming in on stuff and adding in details that you feel necessary to add. And like I said, I really don't like doing clouds. I like that spray effect. That's pretty cool. So I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna go back up to a slightly bigger brush here. Not too big. I want to make sure I see some of that. There we go. So I'm using the exact same technique I just was a second ago, except now I have this slightly textured brush here. Can add a hole right here in the clouds. Having little holes here and there look good. That might be a little too textury, I'm not sure yet. See the difference between the smooth and this up here? It does make a difference. And I'm kind of, using that texture that I created earlier with the other brush. I'm just kind of going by that and using it. Let's use a smaller brush here. At this stage here, it's like you take a lighter color and just start kind of lightly dotting it around. And at this point, I might use the colored chalk pencil or just a pencil without the shape dynamics on. Or in this case, it's not called shape dynamics, but going to this little button here and turning pen pressure off on with this. So if I come up here now, I can kind of control the size. But for the most part, you want to work with the flat. At least I found it more helpful. So I'm just using slightly darker colors. Just adding little holes and all throughout it. So these kind of clouds are the hardest clouds to paint, I think. It's because they take so long. But anyway, you continue doing this throughout the whole image here until you had something that you liked. It takes some practice to get good at doing clouds. Oh, I know if I'm super good at it yet. I think I'm okay at it. Keep in mind that clouds have a three-dimensional, they have like three-dimensionalness to them. They're not just flat. So you want to, have the dark side and the light side of the cloud. Also, sometimes you get like layers. I can also turn the opacity down or the density of paint here. That might help a little bit with this. I can also turn down the particle density because my brush is pretty small. That will give me a little more control over the brush and texture and everything. See, sometimes it almost looks like scribbling, like see little circles, but when you come back into it and start shaping it up, it looks less like scribbling. It starts to look more like you're actually doing clouds. I like making little random holes here and there, like really dark ones. And add a little bit of texture, light texture back in there to show some little overlapping clouds. Anyway, this is, like I said, very time consuming, and still, when you do it this way, it can take a long time before you get that kind of fluffy cloud texture look. Then you can take like an airbrush and I have pen pressure turned off on it as well. Okay, I think multiplier something said on it. Let me see here. Yeah, it's set to overlay right now. Let's set it to normal. And what I'm going to do with this here is this is just to come in and get a softer look to some of the clouds. I'll probably use a bigger brush here and just kind of soften some of this up because it's, especially back here where I don't want as much detail. The moon I'm going to leave really plain. Oh, mainly because it would take too long to try to draw a moon right now. And we haven't got into the meat of this picture. It's going to be really cool. And so I want to start getting into that. So I'm trying to keep that over there more blurry, I guess. But you know, you can come in, you can start with this brush too, and then just get smaller, and you can get the exact same kind of result out of it this way. Just little small little circles. See, it doesn't really matter what brush you use. I don't have no texture on this brush. It's just standard airbrush with the dynamics turned off. Get a little bit smaller. I can turn the dynamics back on as well. Have a little more control over size with my pressure. And when you do that, you probably want to use a bigger brush. You see how you can quickly start to get these different shapes in here. And there you have it, starts looking like clouds. Anyway, so that's all I'm going to do for the clouds. We're going to leave that as it is. And then I'm going to use my big pen brush here to grab in some dark color first. I want this to cover part of the cloud. If you guys see my homepage, you know I'm actually drawing something, basically the same thing again. It's really similar, just kind of repainting it here in this program. I'm going to take a nice saturated blue here, and I'm going to start, you know, this is nighttime, so even though we're dealing with grass here, I'm not really going to have like any greens in here. It's going to be all blues. And let's see here. I think I'll use pencil for this right here. I like to again go back over with the darker color and break up my light that I add into it to add texture. See by doing that, coming back in there, adds texture back to that light. A little bit of light beam I added. Right now I have the particles set. I think I'm going to turn those off on this brush for now. The spray effect, I'm going to turn that off. Go with this more smooth look. I'm not this one's gonna be a lot different. I mean, I know the basic idea that I did last time, and so this will have a similar feel, but it's not going to be obviously the exact same painting because that's boring to me. I don't like looking at stuff and painting it. It's kind of boring. I mean, why did I learn to paint from my mind? If I was just going to look at stuff and paint it. And right here, actually, that particle brush or some other cool texture brush might come in handy. Let me check here. Let's go back to the spraying effect and let's see something like that maybe. So you can see it over here changing. Add a slight light color in here. And I'm thinking about I might have more than just the moon as a light source. So first I'm just adding the very basics of shape here. I might actually go back to this brush here and start adding some detail like it's grass being pulled out like this. I should come back in there and add that detail. I just want to make sure I have to hit really light though when the brush is this big to hit it smaller. I can turn the brush down though, but this is fine for now. So you can see how I add little light and I come back in with dark and I kind of re-etch back into those. It's a technique I use with real paints as well, the paintbrush. I'll come in with like a oil paintbrush like that and add it, and I'll come back with a slightly dark color and just kind of go back over some of that detail I just added to, break it up. Right, so okay, just making another light source. I'm not sure what the light source on the left is, but there's some sort of light source over there. And let's go ahead and silhouette in the tower here. I think I'm gonna do like something that's more kind of crazy, like this. I like using, pen tools to etch in to silhouette, especially if you're working with a dark painting like this here. Yeah, I'm thinking something like that might be cooler. This will be the crazy tower. I have to make it a little bit thicker at the base. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm silhouetting in the work, and I'm going to have a little tower coming off here. I have to imagine it coming back around. Actually, we're looking up at it, so the horizon line's somewhere down here. So if we're looking up at it, I need to come like this when I had the one to come in the background. This is the bar that's coming in the foreground. That bar is going in the background. And we'll have the bars are all in the foreground here. Coming down like that. Maybe a bar going across there. Or maybe have this come out further. That's what I like about silhouette work too, is you can really, actually, let's go out even farther. There we go. This isn't be a support beam. We'll have some sort of thing here as well, like a little doorway that you can enter into. We'll have different color lighting as well, but I usually do that last. So for now, for example, I can go, okay, well, there's a door here. And so also to start it, I can even, I can use this brush or I can use a pencil. I just want to start the shape of the door. This is going to be all very bright. And then I want to add just a little detail around, showing that, like hinting at that there's stones and stuff that it's hitting. Now remember, this brush here allows me to have a combine mode. I can go to add glow. And I'm actually going to turn the pressure off if I'm going to do that. You can get really glowy if you want, but you really don't want to add glow yet. What I like to do is first go in there with all my detail. And for this, I'm going to use the pencil. Pen pressure's on. This way I can get really tiny details in here. Now let's get slightly darker as I'm coming out. Let's add some black back in here. Break up the texture. Make sure we can see that doorway. I'm going to take that kind of color now. I'm going to kind of make like little bricks coming all the way around here. I'm going to slightly hit some of those bricks. Just lighter color. And for this, I probably want to zoom in for some of this detail here. Getting a smaller brush. And I want like more rough, abnormal shaped bricks rather than them all being like before. I did them all very unified. I don't want them unified this time. Right, so now when I use either like use the airbrush tool, I can use either add glow or let's say overlay and use a brighter, more yellow color. And you can take a darker color and like darken it in as well, and then take that glow again, and I want the brush smaller. I want to make sure that I have the glow that's probably too bright. Let's go ahead and go back to I don't like that. Let's see, maybe even reddish. And so the reason why I'm adding a little bit of green is to show a little bit of the moss or something built up on the thing. And then I'm going to come back in with my regular brush again and add back in this black. Make sure we're getting kind of start adding the brick texture back in there. Add some of this green down here. Take some of that brown. Take some of this black back down in here. Let's add some. Go back to the pen tool now. Add some actual silhouette structured shapes out here to actually show like there's oblong like bricks and stuff sticking out or rocks. I'm going to have an under part of the tower as well, and I'm going to go back with this brush here. Actually, I'm going to add a slight sky blue color to it, and this is just the light from both sides is slightly hitting some of the beams, almost like it's a mushroom. I'm just lightening up some of those ones in the middle so they're not so bright, and then add a little bit of the texture up here, kind of show. A little bit over here as well. Just to show the roof has texture on it. Now I might take the pencil now, really small. Just show some really fine details where light's hitting really hard. Like that. I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of resembling a mushroom cap. The way I did that, it's kind of interesting. And then up here, I'm going to have another, I'm going to start with more oranger up here this time. Add in that color. There we go. And then I'm going to try taking the airbrush and just slightly add a little bit of glow around. Start with a little bit of green this time first. Let's add that redder color, and let's try going to overlay. Then we're going to come back in, take a slight color that's not so dark. We're going to add some texture back in here. So I'm just taking some of those colors that are almost. Then let's go to glow again. We don't want too much. Just trying to make sure I have shapes in here. They're supposed to resemble like bricks. Show in there. I should have had the texture there first. Would have been easier. Try to make sure I have some sort of texture in there. It kind of looks like a bunch of rocks all put together. Maybe add a little bit of green. On this side over here, though, I want to show some of the. That's too bright of a color, so I'm just going to tone it down there a little bit by adding some black lightly over it and then picking it back up again. Just adding a couple bricks in here as well. And then we can add a couple highlights on some of these bricks in the edge. I'm going to take the airbrush, go to normal, turn the airbrush down. This is an easy way to just come back in and darken up some of the ones that are further away from the edge. Take the pencil, let's take a light color, maybe outline some of this. Oh, that looks stupid. Yeah, don't be afraid to, something looks stupid, just get rid of it. Sometimes that's hard to do. Like you'll kind of like almost not fall in love with it, but I don't know, you get attached to it or something. You don't want to like just get rid of it because you spent the time doing it. It's like, I don't really have that problem usually. Okay, so one thing I want to have like some sort of foreground stuff here. This being some sort of bushes or something coming here in the foreground, overlapping the doorway, showing that this is in front. So the bush might be affected a little bit by the glow. Adding a little bit of texture into here. Some grass. Just little diagonal strokes like this way and then this way to show some grass blades like overlapping each other. Then like little circles and little dots to kind of add little texture over here, like more like mossy, rocky looking. Kind of break it up. And I might take a bigger brush here and take one of these colors and just lay in some really light. I have the speckles on again, I guess. I'm going to turn those up towards more blurry. There we go. Let's go ahead and zoom back out. We can see the whole image again. The reason why I'm leaving the ants on is because it actually adds, it makes it where you can't, with certain brushes, you can't pick up the background white. Like this brush right here, if I had that off, I can actually pick up, I'll just show, well, I can't paint outside of it, but what will happen is you pick up the white and of the background and it goes right into the edge of your thing. I don't want that to happen. See, now the spacing is too much for particle size, so I need to turn the particle sizes down to where it still has that kind of cloudy look to it. I just want to add a little more cloud texture over here before I go into add other stuff I'm going to add over here. So it's all starting to come together. See, we can take our black color here again, and we can start from right here, make a post, make a wooden fence that comes in front of this bush here. I think I'm going to make it thinner than last time and make it more like built out of more messed up windy wood, like it's not all perfect wood. Then we'll take the pencil brush and add just a little bit of some kind of darker blue color. So I want to show some of the texture of that. I might even add a couple highlights to parts of it. You add a little bit of the orange highlight here to the edge right there. Alright, that's pretty cool. I think this time I'm not going to add the tree right here. I kind of like the clouds doing their little thing right here. So because of that, So I could use that color and actually come in and make it be some kind of moon. It doesn't have to be our moon. I don't have to have like the exact pattern our moon has. It can just be a moon in general. I can just give it some sort of crater shapes. This up here looks a little too unrefined. Too much texture or something. By texture, I mean texture that was made by the texture of the brush, not made by hand by me. When you come in, do it by hand like this, you get a slightly different look to it. Doesn't look grainy. Textured, but not grainy. That's what I want. That's the effect I'm going for right here. Okay, that's pretty cool. I will add a tree over here, I think, and I'll do that with the dark pen tool first. Come in and add in the actual shape of a tree here. Make sure I have, no, just pure black. That's weird. Over there it didn't look pure black. I actually got lighter. It looked lighter over here for a second. I don't know why that was. I'll have it tree be like that. And with the tree, we're going to take one of these colors, the same kind of push tones we've been using. Lightly add in a tone. This is going to be the brighter side, but I want to add all the dark tones first. This is how I like to work. Some people might want to add the brightest first. That might work best for them. I'm going to just come in here and add a few little more higher details because that's how it happens with trees, right? You have parts that stick out further than others, and those parts that stick out the furthest receive the most light. That's just too bright of a color still. I need to turn down the particles a little bit. They're a little too blurry. Breaking up the sharpness of the edge of the tree as well, just a little bit here. Breaking up the detail of the branches, leaves. And now I want some more clear shapes here, so I'm going to grab my pencil tool. Grab this lighter color. I just want some more definite, predominant shapes here. And let's see, I think I'll have a few more. And I'll have some more dark in here as well. Break up some of this. You know, this is where you can really just go crazy with detail. It's up to you, like how detailed you want your painting to be. I tend to be more lazy, and I don't go all crazy with detail. I just like, hey, a little bit goes a long way type of philosophy. I've always enjoyed that look anyway, that more speed painted look, where you can actually see a lot of the individual strokes. And I don't know, I always thought that looked cool. So naturally, you're going to emulate what you like. Okay, and I'm going to add a few over here. Just a couple little texture leaves. There's not going to be much light on that side though. Whatever that light source is from off camera, I don't know what it is, but you know, it adds a little bit of light. Let's go back to a really small brush here. Add the small little details. Grass. And this is something also you can zoom in for to get some of these more finer details in here. There's also weird texture brushes you can use for this kind of stuff as well. In fact, let's go ahead and look at some of it real quick. Let's kind of zoom all the way out here so we can see the whole image again. So if you take this here, let's go ahead and grab this brush again. Take this off. We'll go to brush tip, material, and there's so many different things you can do. There's even figures. It's weird. There's lace. There's different kinds of cross hatching. Sometimes stuff like this right here can be really helpful for grass, like especially like diagonal lines like this. Click OK. It doesn't make much of a difference. Maybe the thickness has to change. Oh, I gotta orientate my brush sideways maybe. Well, this ain't doing much of nothing. Okay, so that's stupid. Let's find something else here. Not bad. This is I'm taking my time too because I'm talking a lot, so see, petty fog can be used for all kinds of things. Let's look at some landscape though. Kind of curious what they have. See little shapes like that can come in handy. And again, some people just think this kind of stuff absolutely is cheating. Just drop down stuff like that in there. Let's get rid of the direction. In this case, we want it in black, I think. This will add the texture in there. I just like to come here sometimes add a couple textures like this. Maybe add one right here. And that is kind of cheating because it's like, you could go and paint it, but why? It's like, why take the time to do all that when you can just have some texture that's already pre-done for you, then come in and just kind of add a little bit of light detail to it. Show it has some three-dimensionality. That light's hitting some of the blades. The light's getting less over there. I can come in here, and really add a lot more detail to these shapes here. Make them more leaf-like. I mean, as long as it reads from far away, and if it's going to be read from far away, that's how you intend it to be viewed, and who cares? All right, so like I said, it looks a lot different than the other one. In fact, I think I might like this one better. The only thing I might change is the clouds. Might throw my Photoshop cloud brush over there really quick, and then maybe even use this, be just this part up here on my site instead. It's kind of cool. It came out pretty interesting. All right, let's see here. There's other things we can add. We can add a little life to it, like people. We can add a bird or bat or something flying in the sky. Let's go ahead and I'll make a bird. And some of the stuff you might want to do on separate layers. Just in case you really mess it up, then you can be like, okay, well, I don't really like that. Because if I mess this up, I don't end up not liking the bird, I can't take it out because it's all on one layer. And then I'm going to add just a little bit detail to the bird, showing that light's hitting a little bit of it. That might be too much. Just that one wing right there. Let's tone that down. All right, then we got the wizard. I'm gonna go ahead and make a new layer for this just in case I don't like it or I mess up or something. So for the wizard, with this you can go ahead and do your typical person type thing here and have his leg kind of coming back this way, I think this time. That leg coming back that way. Basically just silhouette, which is cool. I like doing silhouette stuff. Add his hat in here. And I should probably be using this brush. It'll just save a lot of time. This is an inking brush. I want to show he's kind of like wearing pants underneath his robe. And so this is going to be a robe now. This part down, it's going to come down to like here. Might show it kind of flapping around like this. That looks more like a tail. Hold on. Then we'll have the belt right in this area. Make sure it's in his waist area. And have one arm coming back this way. This arm coming out this way. Typical old kind of wizardly. I think I was give him long hair, but then I don't know if it makes the pictures readable that way. So let's go back to here. At the face. Low riding hat. Something like that works. I think I can probably zoom in though and maybe fix up the. Let's take our eraser size. I want the hat to basically be covering most of his face. One, because I think it looks cool, and two, so I don't have to draw as much. Yeah, it still looks like a tail if I do it like that. The building was in the way I can, oh maybe I can go like this actually. Let's take and move him more to the edge over here. See then, I kind of do that idea I wanted to do with this robe there. Like it's all tattered and torn in the wind. Got some old garb on or something. Okay. Now it's time to add just a little bit of highlight in here, just to show a little bit of the form. I want to show a little bit of the changing the legs there and stuff, and then maybe a little bit of this. Much smaller brush than that. Just want to kind of show some of the tatterness and separation of legs, and that's really all it has to be, to be readable. Little silhouette. I can maybe come in here, and I don't know if there's enough room. How? Show a little bit of his nose. Make sure it's readable though, not like looks weird with the hat. Right, so now it's the cool part. We can add some cool effect here with his staff. One way to do it is we can take, I don't know, I want it to be orange, yellowish. I think I'll just stick to what I did last time, kind of an orange yellowish color, and make a little round tip first. I should make a new layer for this, just in case I don't like it. A little bit brighter in the center. Right, then we're going to take airbrush and then we'll set it to glow dodge. Make it big. And see, unfortunately, I had a feeling that wasn't happen. So I have to merge all these down, I think. One more time. Now watch it works. Yeah, you do have to do that. Okay. So let's see here. Yeah, that's a little too much. I might add just a little bit of that, and then we'll go to overlay. That's kind of like changing the sky too much. So I'm going to make this smaller. We do want to change the sky color a little bit, like that, and then no, let's go back to a little bit of yellow. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and take a light yellow to white. Well, first we'll start with this bright yellow, and now I'm going to use a normal brush. This will be to add the brightest color. I'm almost thinking maybe the brightest, well, the brightest part probably should be right there in the center, huh? Maybe show a couple little. Sometimes it's good to use your pen tool, just the hardest brush you can for the brightest details. Want nice, hard, crisp details sometimes. That's a little too dark. Just gotta make sure. I want that to show a little bit of texture, to show that it's like spraying out. Then maybe go back in with this soft light or overlay again. No, maybe with a lighter color. Kind of break up the particles a bit. And we'll kind of highlight each beam. We want to really show he's shooting out some magic. Maybe it's even, around him a little bit like that. And then we'll actually add a little bit of that color, that bright yellow color. I'm going to zoom in for this. And add it with the pin actually. No, I'm not liking the shape of his head though, like at all. So I'm going to come in here. Let's come back in with this pure black here. Let's add in like a neck color here. I like this look better here. What I'm going to do, bring his hat to where it's like big and low and like almost touching his collar, so it's like hardly any of his face shows. I think that's kind of interesting, cool look. Alright, so there we have it. Took an hour. That's not too bad actually, about an hour and 6 minutes, hour and 7 minutes to do the whole painting. And I think it came out pretty cool. I actually like it. And you know, for being far away from it, it looks just fine. Like I don't really have to add any more detail, I don't think, because I'm not going to have it very big. This is about how big it's going to be viewable online, so it's not going to be very big. But you know, I might actually go in and add a little more detail, some texture into the bricks and stuff like that. I don't know. It just depends on how it looks at the size that I'm going to have it online at. But I really like this. I think I might actually, you know, this is more of like a anime looking wizard. I kind of like him. He's pretty cool. I like the whole, I don't know, I just like the whole thing overall better, I think. The only thing, like I said, the only thing I might change is some of the clouds over on the right hand side and stuff, but these clouds actually look pretty cool. You know, and they're all hand painted, so that's something to kind of be proud of, I guess. And I think what I might do down here is maybe add some mountains or something. Let's use a hard pin for this so we get a direct cut out of shapes. Just to show that there's something down there. And just add a little bit of rock texture here. This is all, you know, just done by hand. There's no texture on the brush. So I'm saying rock texture, I don't mean that I'm actually using some rock texture or something on this brush. I'm just dabbing little shapes, kind of like rock texture, and coming back and erasing some of it so that it has the kind of like the idea of texture in there. Okay, there you go. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. And hey, if you enjoyed this, do me a favor. Just go ahead and click the share button and share it with your friends. They might enjoy it too. Share on your favorite social network. And go ahead and subscribe if you want to see, you know, new tutorials that come out. I'm always coming out with tutorials. Some of them are long, some of them are short. You know, this one here is a real-time painting. I might also go ahead and post a speed version of this painting. So I'll just speed up really fast and maybe have commentary over it, or maybe just, you know, music or something. But yeah. Hey, just real quick for those, you know, at this point you can stop watching. I'm just gonna, for those of you that are interested in some updates on what I'm doing, what I'm working on, what's coming in the future, then you can continue to listen if you want. So just some quick updates. So the course I'm working on, and maybe I can actually show you some of the imagery. Well, maybe not. Anyway, the course I'm working on right now is the pinup course, and how to draw sexy women in pinups. But the thing is, it's not raunchy at all. It's actually I'm doing it very respectful. I'm keeping it to where, you know, teenagers can watch it and stuff. You know, I'm not doing like anything erotica or exotic or anything like that. That might, you know, in the future, if I get enough requests, I might do an exotica type course. Um, but not, I don't think I'll ever do like a straight how to draw porn course. I actually used to do that for a living for a little while, and the pay wasn't very good, and they made you like draw a lot of stuff for the amount of pay you got. But anyway, so that course I'm working on it, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna release it on Udemy.com, and I'll release it for a discounted price. What I'm going to do is once I'm about, I got enough hours on there, and I got quite a bit of material recorded already. Once I got enough hours, I'm gonna go ahead and post it on there for a discounted price so that people can follow along with me. But most likely won't catch up to me. Like there'll be a good 5, 6 hours on there, and I'll keep adding stuff every few days. Keep adding lessons every few days, and so that way you can't really catch up to me. If you actually, unless you just sit there and just like watch like hours a day or something like that. But that means you're really not drawing along with the course, and that's really how you benefit from my courses is drawing along with them. It's kind of like watching a piano lesson online. If you just watch it and don't actually play along with it or practice the things that it's showing you, then it's kind of useless, right? You're not going to get better at piano by just watching a piano tutorial, right? You got to how to do stuff. You have to play the piano and do what they're telling you to do. But yeah, anyway, so that's one of the things I'm working on. Another thing I'm working on now is coming out with the anatomy course on Udemy as well, and that's strictly where it's going to be. I'm going to try that for a little bit. I'm going to have all the links strictly taking you directly to the Udemy thing. Now, what's cool about Udemy.com for those that don't know what it is one, it allows me to update my courses whenever I want. It's really cool. The way it allows me to organize some stuff is really interesting. I like that. So I can always add more bonus videos. And so another thing that's cool about it is you own it for life. So once you sign up for a course on Udemy, you have signed up for life. Forever and ever, you can, as long as Udemy is around, I guess, as a website, which I imagine will be a long time, you can go and access your course. You can stream it or you can download it. Well, it's my choice whether or not I want to make it available for download, but of course I'm going to, just in case you can't stream it, whatever. But I like the option of being able to both stream and or download. And let's say you download and then you have them on your computer, whatever. You don't really like streaming or whatever, and a couple years goes by and you lose all your files. You're like, oh man, I lost my course. I want to watch them again. It's been a while since I've seen them. I want to just refresh myself. You can go right back to Udemy and re-download them again because you own the course for life. So once you had paid for it, you never have to worry about losing your course, and so that's kind of cool. Um, there's other cool things about Udemy as well. I really like the ability to be able to add content. So it's like people will be like, hey, I'm really kind of confused by this part. It would be really cool if you can add some more detail right here. And then I can go do that. I can go back in there and go, okay, hey, cool. Let's add some more detail in there then. And I can add a couple more lessons. I can drop them in any order I want to. And then you'll have those extra lessons and bonus lessons. I can add more bonus lessons. So I can continue to add to my courses to make them better or like redo a lesson easier. It's all right there and it's easier to do. So I think that might be my preferred method of delivering my courses. But I'm going to do a test run with the anatomy course. Other things I've been working on after I'm finished with this how to draw sexy women and pinups. And by the way, it's really cool because that course, it actually goes into the why about things. Like I like to do that with everything I teach. Like why is it the widest part of the woman's body is her crotch and not a little bit higher at her hips, where a lot of people think it might be. It's because her hip bones are signed like a V, and then you have the leg bones which point out wider, the femur bone which points out and then goes in, and you can actually feel your femur bone at the widest part of your body there at the edge of your legs. And so that's why that's the widest part of the female body. So understanding why about things, I think is really important. So, why, what, so I go through like theory and rules of what makes sexy sexy. And it's not just about body type. A lot of these, I've seen pinup courses out there before, and they're no good at all. They're just like, they go like this basically. They're like, all right, so now I'm drawing this particular pose. And here I'm drawing an arm like this, and I think this looks sexy. So, but they're not teaching you nothing. They're just like talking while they're drawing, but they're not teaching you any like whys and hows about things that you can apply to other things. And that's what I show you. I'm like, look at this is why this is sexy. Let's start with the basic pose. What happens if we slightly tilt her hips up but leave her shoulders straight? What happens if we tightly tilt her hips up and drop her other shoulder down? That's sexy. Lifting a shoulder up and kind of covering the face a little bit, or lifting up toward the chin is sexy. So I go through rules that you can break, but they're just kind of like loose rules to how to make sexy sexy. And by the time you're done with the course, you will be able to draw from your mind your own poses, your own sexy poses, and you can add those to your comic books. You can just do pinups. You can make money with pinups actually. Like on there's several different sites you can make Fiverr. You can make money with pinups. There's quite different ways you can make money with your artwork. But anyway, so that course actually goes into more theory and a modern way of drawing the female body, and it goes through several different methods of simplifying the female body. So there's a lot of information there. How gestures of hands, sensual, playful. There's all different kinds of ways you can do pinup, and ways you can do sexy. You can do it playful, you can do it bashful, you can do it sensual, you can all these different things you can do with it. Go through many different styles and of bodies and stuff, and how you can show, and how clothing itself can be even more sensual and more pinup-y than just a nude model would. And typically pinups are clothed anyway, and all my pinups will be clothed. But I first draw the body and then I'll add the clothes onto them. Um, Anyway, it's just really cool. Just thought I'd talk about that a little bit for those that are wondering what I've been up to and what course is coming out next. It's going to be a very beneficial course. So what I'm trying to say is, you might think, oh, pinup and sexy women, that doesn't sound like something for me. It might you might like it. Seriously, like it's a good course. It teaches so many things, like hair, and basically the basics of hair, but also what what makes hair sexy, like what will fit into a playful, what kind of hairstyle will fit into a playful, what kind of hairstyles will fit into a playful, what kind of hairstyles will fit into a sensual pinup, and so forth. So anyway, it's going to be a really cool course, I think. Other courses I'm going to be working on in the future is going to be a bunch of mini courses that are going to all come together eventually as a bundle, and it's going to be the ultimate how to draw comic course. So everything you need to know to draw comics, from how to, like, how at Manga Studio, for example, or Photoshop, either one, how to set up pages. And what's cool about Manga Studio 5 Extended, which I have here, is if you're going to be making comics, the difference between, the main difference between 5 and Extended 5, I think, or EX, whatever, I think it stands for Extended, is that Extended has the ability to view a bunch of pages at once. You can just quickly, fly between different pages and look at them. Whereas, with 5, you have to work the way I work in Photoshop, which is you have to have separate files. So you have a bunch of separate files in a folder, and you have to like open each one individually, and you can't just like quickly fly through them, and work on one page and then go click on another page and work on that page. You have to open and close, or open a few pages and work on them. So the workflow is very fast and fluid with that. But anyway, that's the ultimate course. After I finish with this one, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do like an anatomy crash course. I'm gonna take all the knowledge that's in my anatomy course now. I'm gonna condense it down to way shorter. Um, and I have a really cool idea how to do that, and just like get to the bare essentials for anatomy. The crash course anatomy for comic artists, and for anyone really, but for comic and concept artists specifically, because those are the main popular things people want to do. They're good paying, and there's also animators too, but even for animating people, knowing anatomy is very important, and not everyone wants to sit down and watch 65 hours of an anatomy course in order to learn it. Although that course is very awesome, it's very detailed. If you want that detail, that's what you want. It'll be the last anatomy course you ever need. But I really think I can take all the information and teach it in such a way that it will still be there, but in a very condensed fashion. And also using my new methods of drawing the human figure and stuff, I came up with this new method that I showed you recently with the female, that I'm also giving away, the Wacom tablet in some courses. That particular tutorial utilizes some of my new methods of drawing the figure. And with those new methods of drawing the figure and how to look at anatomy, just the important parts, and not under muscles and stuff that aren't as important. Anyway, that's all in the future. So I'll be doing things like, that course will have individual mini courses too first that will come out that you can get, and I think I'll release on Udemy and be like, okay, here's the comic course, but for right now, it's the composition course, that's up right now, and then I'll continually work on it. So you have already paid for the entire comic course bundle, and I'll release it as it comes, or I might just release them individually, then bundle them all up. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that yet. Maybe you guys can give me your feedback on that. What do you think? Should I bundle them all up? Or rather, should I give you the bundle price? Be like, here you go, 40 bucks, and you're going to get an entire comic course. It's going to be a huge course, and I'm gonna break it through over time. So I'm gonna be like, okay, right now I have two portions of it. I have the composition part, and I have the fundamentals of perspective, form, and color and stuff on there. And then, the next part will be, paneling and all about paneling. And then the next part will be, about hair and how to draw hair, the fundamentals of hair, and how gravity affects it and stuff like that. And then next one will be clothing and folds and how gravity affects clothing and different ways to draw clothing and how to like learn the fundamentals of clothing so that you can invent your own clothes. And that's actually almost getting into fashion design, but that's important for drawing comics. And then of course, backgrounds, and which is kind of part of composition, doing different backgrounds, and that's also perspective is part of that too. But just how to like lay in backgrounds and how to do stuff like I just did here, how to think about it, how to approach it and come about it, how to have a workflow, how to do panels logically that you can flow from one to the other. How to storyboard, how to actually tell a story. And this gets a little bit into my writing skills as well, because most comic drawing courses don't tell you anything about the writing process. And like, even as an artist, even if you're not going to be writing, you kind of want to know story a bit, because you have to tell the story in a compelling way. So it's going to go into like how to draw dynamic panels, panels that actually, stick out and matter, and that aren't just like boring, side views of people and stuff like that, to really turn that camera angle around. And that's why it's going to be important to know your anatomy, because you're not going to be able to draw these poses from your mind without knowing the anatomy. Anyway, so that's the big course bundle in the future. Please let me know what you think. For those of you that actually listen this long, leave a comment. Let me know. Do you think I should, when I release on Udemy, should I release it with just a few of the parts, or should I wait until the whole entire bundle's done and then release it, or should I release it in each individual course, like the composition course, be like 10 bucks or something, $7, something very affordable. It'll be like, 15 hours long or 10 hours or 5 hours, however long I manage to get all the information down that I need to get down. Composition is actually a really cool subject. But anyway, so should I do it that way, release it individually? I can release individually on Udemy, for example, or how I usually do it just on my site, through payloads. Or I can, yeah, those are the three ways. So should I release them individually and then eventually in the future bundle it up? And then that means that a lot of you will be waiting for the bundle version, right? You'll be like, well, or you might be like, can't wait, I need this individual one, because who knows how long it's to be until they're all done, and then he has the bundle package, the ultimate comic book bundle. Or should I release it on Udemy for the bundle price, let's say 40 bucks or something like that, and it'll be cheaper than what it normally would be, so maybe 30 bucks or something, because you're having to wait for them to come out. But most likely I'll stay ahead of you the whole entire time. Like, unless you watch several hours a day, you're not going to catch up to me. If you watch several hours a day, just blasting through it and just watching it and not really practicing it and taking time to, practice the exercises and to draw with me and stuff like that, then you would catch up to me. Then you have to wait like 3 or 4 days for the next, lecture to come out. And each lecture will be about an hour long. And so I don't know. I don't know I guess those are the two main ways to do it. Release each course individually, and then have you pay for them individually as they come out, or release the whole entire bundle pack. Well, I guess it was three different ways. The third way I don't think I'll do, though. That is, hoard all of those mini course packs that's going to be part of the course bundle, and just hold off, and it might take me 3 months or whatever to finish all of it and then release it all as a bundle. Like, I think that's unpractical, and people won't want to wait that long for my next course. So, oh, one more thing for you that are still with me. Wow. That's pretty cool. You guys are still listening to me. If you are, I probably lost most of you. I'll know by the stats. I'll just look at the statistics, and it'll show me how many people actually watched the end, a percentage of people that watch it to the end. It'd probably be like maybe 5% of you that actually watched this video to the very end. But anyway, for you 5% people, or maybe it'll be bigger than that. We'll see. If you're interested to know how many of you actually watch the end, I'll post the percentage of the people that watch this video to the very end. One other thing I'm working on right now is a how to draw figure book. It's taking everything I've learned about teaching and methods and drawing the human figure, and it's taking all my new knowledge about drawing a human figure, which you won't see much of until I redo the figure course from scratch, from ground up. It's gonna be a figure anatomy course all in one for the comic book bundle. But you do see a little bit of it in the course I'm working on now, the how to draw sexy pinouts, but only for the female figure. But anyway, new ways of how to teach anatomy and stuff like that. I got a lot of stuff in my head now on how to do it. But what I am doing is I'm working on a how to draw figures book. It's going to be the Master Human Figure book basically, but it's going to include anatomy, unlike the old Master Figure. And eventually, I'm going to get rid of that course altogether. It's going to go away, and it will be gone forever. Or it might be some course you can buy for $3 or something like that. I don't know, just in case people want it for some reason. But my methods are so much better than that course was. So anyway, it's going to be a reference book and a how to book, and it's going to be. I think I've seen a lot of books out there, from Andrew Loomis and so forth, on how to draw a human figure, and I think, how do I say this right? I think it's going to be one of the best ever made. Period. It'll be in PDF format to make it cheaper because I want it in color, and so if I were to print it out in color, it'd be very expensive, and maybe I'll do a Kickstarter program one day for that if enough people are interested in it. I'm also thinking about starting another comic again. My other comic, End of All, I got to like page 60. That's a lot of pages, 60 pages, all by myself. Did everything by myself. That's pretty cool. If I start another comic, I think I'm going to hire some people from the Philippines or something to help me out with some of the like drawing, some of the process of it at least. Like maybe flattening and some of the stuff that's very time consuming that they can do very quickly for me. I'll be handling the main drawings and stuff though, and the main coloring and stuff. Anyway, so the figure book is gonna be cool. I'm gonna have pictures of a nude model, and so that'll be cool. And there's gonna be tons of reference photos in there of the nude model, to show all the different, turnaround poses, basic turnarounds, then slightly, tilt of the hips, and it's going to have a wide range of stuff that I wish I had when I was learning. So I'm basically making the book I wish I could have had growing up with, and it's going to be the ultimate figure drawing book with hundreds of reference photos, and then also drawings of those photos, like gesture, like how to take those individual poses and make it have a different body. So you'll have the model, which is a thin model with not very big breasts, and then next to it, I'll draw as inspiration a pose from that. Here's the pose that the model has, and I'll gesture it out and make it more animated, more powerful, and then add a different body to it. Like, what if we added, a bigger breasted, bigger hip lady to the same pose here, but to show how you can use that photo and still get that same result. But it's going to teach how to draw from the mind as usual. But when you can draw the figure from mind, you can draw it from reference very easy. And so yeah, it might be a while until that's out because I have to do a lot of writing and editing and stuff like that. But it's gonna be and take a lot of photos and do a lot of drawing. But I think it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be an awesome book. So yeah, tell me what you think of that. Does anyone care about the book? Should I even do it? Does it, like, should I even waste my time with it? Or is anyone even going to want it? Is anyone even listening anymore? Man, I'm rambling and I'm really tired. All right. See you guys later. Peace out.